Reno and the Magical Teacher. Once upon a time in a city named Chicago, there lived a 7-year-old boy named Reno. Reno had a unique catchphrase. "This is boring!" He would say it whenever he was given any schoolwork. You see, Reno didn't like to learn in school. He thought it was the most boring thing in the world. Every day as he sat in his classroom, Reno would look out the window and dream of exciting adventures. He wished he could be anywhere else but in that dull classroom. His classmates giggled at his complaints, but Reno didn't mind. He was determined to avoid learning at all costs. One morning, something incredible happened. Reno's family moved, and he had to go to a new school. The new school was named Learn Charter School. Little did he know that this new school would change his life forever. In his new school, Reno met a teacher named Mrs. Jasnika. She was unlike any teacher he had ever encountered. Mrs. Jasnika had a secret magical power. Whenever she hoped for something to happen, it would come true. On Reno's first day in Mrs. Jasnika's class, he couldn't help but say, "This is boring," as usual. But Mrs. Jasnika simply smiled and whispered a magical wish. Suddenly, the letters in Reno's textbook began to dance, and the words leaped off the pages, forming a colorful, swirling tornado of letters and words. Reno's eyes widened in amazement. Mrs. Jasnika had made learning come alive. From that day on, Reno couldn't wait to go to school. He learned to read with excitement, and his catchphrase changed to, "This is amazing!" As the years passed, Reno grew up and never forgot the magical teacher who had transformed his life. His childhood dream was to become a lifeguard and save lives at the beach. He worked hard to achieve his goal, and eventually became a lifeguard just like he'd always wanted. One afternoon, as an adult lifeguard, Reno decided to visit his old school. To his surprise, Mrs. Jasnika was still there, teaching and making magic happen for new students. They shared stories and laughter, and Reno thanked her for the incredible gift she had given him, the love for learning. As Reno stood by the ocean, watching over the swimmers and remembering his journey, he knew that sometimes the most magical adventures in life could start with a simple change of heart. Thanks to Mrs. Jasnika's enchanting lessons, Reno had learned that learning could be the most exciting adventure of all. Reno lived happily ever after, protecting others with the same enthusiasm and passion that had once turned his world around. The end.